In this video, we're making meatballs and gravy, also known as Italian meat sauce, with thinly cut pork chops, sweet Italian sausage, and of course, meatballs. First up, the meatballs. Into a large bowl, add 1 pound or 2 cups of ground beef, a half pound or a half cup of ground pork, 2 large eggs, a half cup of grated Parmesan cheese, 1.5 tablespoons of finely chopped parsley, 1.5 tablespoons of salt, 1 tablespoon of pepper, and 1 cup of breadcrumbs. Then take 6 slices of white bread, remove the crust, and run 2 slices at a time under hot running water, squeezing out any of the remaining water. Once all the bread slices are wet, break each one into small pieces and add it to the mixture. Then mix until just combined. You don't want to overmix because you'll melt the fat in the pork. If the mixture is too wet, add an additional half cup of breadcrumbs. If the mixture is too dry, add another egg. To form the meatballs, simply grab a small portion of the mixture and roll it into a ball-shaped size of your choice with your hands. I like mine about the size of a tennis ball. I think it's the perfect size. If you like them smaller, like Swedish meatballs, do that. If you like them larger than tennis balls, then make them larger. Tennis ball-sized meatballs, you should get about 14. Next, pour a 1/4 inch of olive oil into a pan and heat over medium heat. Bring the oil up to around 325 degrees and add the meatballs one by one into the pan. And this might seem like a lot of oil, and it is in most cases, because you obviously don't want the meatballs to float. But once the meatballs are added, the oil sits just below their halfway mark as they fry, which as a result requires me to turn each one only once during the cooking process. We don't bake meatballs here, that's weird. And for that frying process, you're looking at about 10 to 12 minutes per side. They take time. After they have finished cooking, remove them from the pan and place onto a wire-racked lined baking sheet to drain, reserving a half cup of the cooking oil for a later step. Next up, the gravy. Pour a few tablespoons of oil into a clean pan and heat over medium-high heat. Then add 1 diced yellow onion, season the onions with some salt and pepper, and saute for 4 to 5 minutes or until the onions are lightly golden brown. Then remove the onions and set them off to the side for a later step. In addition to the meatballs, the meat portion of the sauce begins with 1 package or 4 to 6 boneless pork chops thinly cut, and 1 package or 6 links of sweet Italian sausage. Season all sides with salt and pepper. In the same pan, add the pork and sausage in 2 separate batches, searing both sides of the chops for 7 to 10 minutes, and 2 sides of each sausage for 5 to 6 minutes, give or take. Then grab a large pot and pour in 3 large cans, or 28 ounces each, of good crushed tomatoes, either Cento or Tudoroso, none of that cheap stuff. Followed by the cooked onions, 1 teaspoon of oregano, 1 teaspoon of pepper, 1.5 cups of water, and a half cup of the reserved frying oil from the meatballs. The frying oil here is what makes this ordinary tomato sauce into a bold meat sauce. Give it a quick mix, then simmer on low heat uncovered for 1 hour. After 1 hour, add 2 small cans, or 6 ounces each, of tomato paste, followed by the pork chops, sausage, and meatballs. This will continue to cook while covered for 1 to 1.5 hours. This low and slow method allows the meat to soften and tenderize over time. Now we plate. Grab a large serving dish, follow the package instructions, and add a pasta of your choice. I'm using spaghetti here. Ladle some of the gravy over the pasta, then top it off with the meatballs, sausage, and finally the pork chops. And there we have it, meatballs and gravy, also known as Italian meat sauce.